is Stephanie Toman. Some of you I've met when you've come to the drop-in centre to get some help. Today's video that I'm doing for you is concentrating on the pivot tables. So these are the learning resources that you have in your ebook, but it's going to look at it over all the data files that we'd use and also concentrating particularly on pivot tables. So first thing we need to do is you need to activate your registration if you haven't done so already. Now, I have sent out some emails. If you are the person that can't see what you need to see, and I'll show you that in a moment, then you need to check that you've used the right email. Okay, because that's generally the case when it's pending. At the moment, we've got a few people pending that have contacted you, so check your email. Otherwise, you're going to log into Skillbox and using your Coventry University email and the password that you created when you registered. Okay, so let's have a look and see what it looks like, or should look like, when you get in there. So you've logged in, and what you should see is the data analytics. You can see that I've got more than that as an overview in it. But in your case, you'll see your module data analytics. So you've got an overview, but what we really want to do is go and view and find the learning material. So click on the view button. And that will show you all this other information. When I've got one diagnostic assessment left, you should have 3 to start with, so you have 3 attempts. And then you've got 2 attempts at the certificate test if you decide to go forward with that. But what we're concentrating on today is the learning resources through the ebook. So let's have a look at the ebook and click on viewing it. So you can see here you've got the exercises. Let's go to the beginning of the ebook. So I'm just highlighting the 81 at the very bottom of the screen, highlighting it, typing over with a 5, and then clicking OK. So if we go to the next page, you can see that what we're going to look at today is starting with lesson 6 all the way through to lesson 9. So this is all to do with the pivot tables. But overall, if you look at the whole of the ebook, you can see that all of the information that you would have to do in order to meet the learning outcomes of the actual certification test. So if we look at one of the review exercises at the end, if you click on there, you can see that they give you some little bits and bobs at the end called review exercises that will help you to just make sure that you've assimilated what you've been doing and practicing. What we will be doing, if I just go back to the main book, so let's go back to the 5 area, and this, I'll show you this later in the actual, it's on your presentation, so you don't need to think about it, worry about it. If we go back, you can see here, click here for download the student folder. I've done it on the presentation just in case you forget. It's got a shape around it to highlight it with a red sort of oval shape. So that's where you click to download all of the data files that you need. But what I've done today, if we just go forward to the actual contents, if I go into lesson 6, click on 71, it takes me through to the lesson starting here with pivot table aggregation. So I click on there. So what I'll be doing is I've done a link to the actual files that you can use to practice this particular area, so 6.2 going through to 9. So what I'll do is I'll demonstrate how you start them and how you use the materials that I've given you. So bear with me and we'll go to the next stage. So you can see here on the presentation, just to help remind you, you can see the data analytics area and how we got to the view to look at the learning progress or the learning resources, and you can see your progress there when you've completed the different sections or lessons in this case. So next, what you can do is you can also look at your learning outcomes and see them from the syllabus point of view. So if you click on this link whilst you're in presentation mode, or just copy and paste it into a Google URL, because remember we use Google. If we go back to the actual logging into your Skillbox, I always put a Google sign there just to help remind you the Chrome is what we use to get in. Okay, Google Chrome, same thing. Okay, so we go back to, let's click on here, and what it should take you to, let's Just give it a moment. And I'll just throw this up to the screen so you can see. So what it does, it will take you to the ICDL website when it's got all of the programs, all of the different training that they have, the certificates, etc. Under the universities, you'll see some. But this one's particularly the data analytics. So what you do is you go down and you can download the syllabus here. So if we look at the syllabus itself, I put a link here for you just to make life easier. So if, like I said before, if you're in presentation mode, you can just select it and that will bring you to the actual thing, which I'm just going to throw onto the screen now. So this is where link it will take you to. And you can see here, you can see the breakdown of the syllabus, and it gives you learning outcomes, and it also gives you all the separate points that you will need to cover in order to take any of the actual certification tests. And it will also, of course, help towards your using the diagnostics tests as your CU test for the Community University, so that you get a pass and hopefully not a fail, but you have a few attempts, so you can do that. So looking through this will give you a good idea of what it is that's expected of you when it comes to looking at the learning outcomes. So you know your learning outcomes, you know how to get to your eBook learning resources, and today we're going to concentrate, remember, on pivot tables, but I mean all the resources as you work through the eBook as you need to, depending on. So how do we study ICDL then? So you've got your learning materials through your eBook, you're going to practice or learn skills relating to the ICDL module, the data analytics. You're going to use the syllabus to look at your learning outcomes, and what you could do as an exercise, you could actually tick off some of the things that you feel quite confident about, and that way you can tailor the learning materials to meet your needs. You may want to do the whole thing, lots of people do that, lots of students like to cover everything, but if you're up against time and you need to do things differently, you can tailor it to your own needs. Make sure you've understood the question or skill. Remember, you've got the practice revision exercises. They're a good way of bringing it home to you or making sure that you did actually assimilate what you've just done. So with these practice exercises, the revision exercises, it's good because what it does is it'll let you go over everything and actually do it, practice it and do it, rather than just watching a video or something. So that's important. So we've got your eBook and your review in your eBook. So we're now getting down to how to study the resources themselves. So what I popped on here is you've got the revision data, exercise data files for the entire eBook. And if you look down here at the bottom with the oval in red, sort of circulating it, there's your link to download the student folder. So that's all of the data files that you need for the whole of the eBook practice. That's right through doing all the exercises and the review exercise at the end. What I've done for us today, so I would suggest actually before I move on that you do download that and make sure it's on your own device. If you find that when you extract it all and put it onto your device and you open anything, check that you might need to enable it before you can use them. Okay. Same for the revision data exercise files that I've given you for the pivot table only, and we're going to be covering, what you're going to be covering is lessons 6 to 9, and the link to use is this one here that will take you to the actual files that's used. So if we click on here, you'll go to the files. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to show you, once you've downloaded, gone to this link and you've downloaded those files, they need to once again be on your device and using them from your laptop or computer, so that you're not using them straight from the SharePoint where I've popped them for you. So make sure that everything that you access with regard to the data files you actually put onto your device. So these ones, as I'll show you in a moment, are specific to lessons 6 to 9 and relating to pivot tables. So you can create that destination folder, download it, and then, as I've said before, if you're working through the pivot tables, make sure that you enable if that's the case. So let's do an example of the first one, just so that you get an idea of what it is expected of you. So as you can see, I've just placed these on screen, so a little bit easier for you to see. So what's happened is you've got your ebook open here, and remember we're concentrating on the pivot table area for this session. So you can read the summarised data introduction. You can see that it starts at lesson 6, and read that over, and then what happens is you'll come down. We'll give you lots more information about the area that we're going to be looking at, which is the summary functions, and then it's going to take us through step by step. So the beauty of this is it will take you step by step, but what I want you to do is, if you do find anything difficult, then you must either drop to the drop-in centre, come and see us, and we'll clarify things for you. Just mark out anything that you're not quite sure of, and so you don't get worried when it comes to taking your test. So it's about reassurance as well. But what I also have for you, as you'll see in a moment, is there's a solution to every one of these lessons, if you like. As you can see down here, this is the lessons at the front, but notice there's solutions as well. So this first one here has actually got the solution in the cards pivot. So I open that up, and I'll just pop that onto the screen. And just tidy that up a little bit. There we go. So this is the pivot. So it starts off by opening it up like this, and it asks you to go. So this is the cards pivot lesson 6.2, and we're going to pivot 1. So what you will see is in pivot 1 is what you need to do with regard to completing the exercise and the revision practice is to follow these instructions, and they do go on in your ebook a lot clearer. Mine's sort of like a copied version, and it'll go on, it'll show you exactly what it's talking about, so you're not just given tasks and then you have to get on with it. And like I said, the other thing that I've done is, if you look next to it, you've got a solution, and the solutions will show you what it is that's expected when you do these revision tasks. So if you don't come up with something that looks like the solution, just go back over it, have a think, have a rethink, and work your way through it till you can get to this point. And you'll be surprised how quick that comes. So let's have a look then. So we've got our first one, pivot 1. Let's follow the instructions on this one. So we're going to change the aggregation method used in a pivot table. Lots of language in here, but we'll see it's nice and simple, not too difficult at all. So you've got this pivot table shows the total credit card transactions value for each department, as you can see here. So click on any of the values in the sum amount. So there's our sum amount. Click on a value, and notice that your field list appears. And this is the field list in the field settings here. This is what it's talking about. So with regard to the Analyze tab, if we see here, you've got the pivot table Analyze. If I click on there, because mine's sort of like squashed a little bit, it's not expanded, in here you will find the field list. So if you can't see it, if you're off the pivot table and not clicked on it, you won't see it. As soon as you click on something, you will see it, but it may have been removed. So if you deactivate it, you can't see it whether you're in or outside the pivot table. But if you come here and pop it on, then it works as it should do. So then you're asked to select the function average in the summarized values. So here's our values down here. I'm just going to pop myself out of the way a moment. So here's your values area, and that's your summarizing of the value. It's at the moment it's in sum. So we're going to change that. We need to change it to the average. So if I just scroll down here, you can see what the next thing is going to be asking me to do and how I would do that. So I'm going to change that to average. So I'm clicking on the value field settings. Always use these to change things. Everything we need is going to be in here. So we've got the average that we're selecting, and then we're going to customize the name. Here it says customize it and type average amount. So really all you have to do is take the of out, and that's customized the name to average amount. Then if you just scroll down a little bit, just in case there's any more to happen. So we can see here that we've got the average amount. We've got the average, and it's good to see that we've done the right thing. Then you're also going to change the format of the values. So we're going to click on the number format here, and it shows you there. So we're clicking on the number format. That takes us to number formatting, just here. And it says that you can change it. We're going to go to the currency, so we select the currency, and then we're going to have decimal places at 0. So take it down to 0 decimal places, and it will always give you a sample of what it looks like. And then if we just check again, make sure there's no more, it says click OK, and close the format cells, so we can close these, and we can close the value field settings as well. And you can see now that that's changed to what it's asked. If we go to pop myself up here again, if we go back to the pivot one, and then just let's take this out a little bit and go to the solution, you can see that now they are the same. So you actually have achieved the goal of that revision exercise. And then what you do is you can move on, gives you a little bit more information of how things should look, and then it's going on to eventually, you can also do a right click, it's just showing you a little bit more. Lots of us like to do a right click. You can do those summarized values. The average is there, that is here, so it's the same thing. So if you click on the average, it will do it there. If I went and I clicked on something else, it would change. Okay, so you can do things through the shortcut right click, and it just gives you a little bit of extra information there. Then what it does is it moves on to the next one, which is going to be the pivot 2. It tells you all about what you're doing. Are you going to be using these display multiple aggregation, as they say. And I'm not going to do these ones. I've showed you one, but I think if you do the same practice, you're looking at pivot 2, doing what they ask you to do with regards to click on any cell. And we're going to use automatically split, so we're going to use more than one. So if we click in here, you can see that. If we look at the solution, this is the fields here. Look at the solution, click on the table, and you can see that what we're doing is multiple values are being dropped in from here down into the values area. So you can get an idea by looking at the solutions, but obviously if you're not sure about things, you have to work through it. So it's not holding your hand, it's just reassuring you. But if you go through all of these exercises, some will be trickier than others. Like I said, if you have any problems, you can always drop in and see us, and we can clarify things for you. So I'm just going to minimize these now, and we'll take you back to the presentation. So finally, just to finish off, hopefully this will help with regards to covering the pivot tables, one of the trickier areas. Just come see us if you find any other areas difficult as well. This is just to remind you of how you contact us, myself, Stephanie, and Kafalat. And then you've also got your the support being the drop-ins, Mondays 1 till 2, Wednesdays 12 till 2. And if you're not on campus, because a few of you could be, let us know and we can assist via Teams. We'll organise that to happen. Please don't hesitate to come and see us. We're in the EEC building. If you've not been in there before, it looks like a ship coming in. It looks like beehive sort of designs on the outside. And we are in the lower part of the building in ECG 36, which they label as the ECDL Centre. So we'd love to see you. You can also use the general inquiries if you wish. Right at the top, it's got the ecdl.ms at coventry.ac.uk. But anyway, you want to get help, please contact us and we will do our very, very best. So hopefully this will help you through these particular exercises, and I hope you enjoy them and able to apply them once you've learnt them. And also maybe go ahead and take the certificate as well and get something for all the work that you've done. Anyway, thanks for listening. Take care, and I'll hopefully see you at some point.